Welcome to the closing ceremony of the summer edition of the Babb'S Reading Clinic. We wish to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Minister Kurt Humphrey, Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, Reverend Canon Dr. Monrell Williams, priest of the St. Barnabas Anglican Church, Miss Annette Aline, principal of the Barbados Community College, Mr. Andre Wharton, president of the Rotary Club West of Barbados, Dr. Astra Babb, coordinator of the Babb'S Reading Clinic. We also wish to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Andre Marshall, manager, customer experience, Scotiabank Barbados, Mrs. Philippa Chalice, the Sandy Lane Charitable Trust, Mrs. Madupe Sodaye Boudou, the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, Dr. Sylvia Henry, chairperson of the National Task Force on Literacy, Mr. Pierre Phillips of Consumer Guarantee Insurance, Dr. Ida Mae Denny, deputy chairperson of the Board of Management of the Barbados Community College, Mr. Roger Worrell, registrar of the Barbados Community College, the delegation of the One Family Program of the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, partners, sponsors, invited guests, members of the media, parents and guardians, boys, a pleasant and indeed a warm good morning to all of you. I am Kamisha Hoyt, and I will be your host this morning. And we are gathered here to celebrate the achievements and perseverance of our boys in the Babb'S Reading Clinic. Today is their day, and we asked you here to see them shine and bear witness to their success. Our boys have persevered, and the power of reading has shown them that there are endless possibilities and opportunities which await them once they remain focused and committed to improving their ability to read. Indeed, the power of literacy can change their lives. At this time, we will ask you to stand as we invite the Reverend Canon Dr. Monrell Williams to open our session this morning with prayer.
Let us pray. O God and Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for this milestone that these students have achieved. We thank you for the knowledge and the skills and the experiences that they have gained throughout this journey. And as they come to the end of this particular section of their journey, we ask that you, O Lord, will order their steps according to your perfect plan. May this achieve launching pad into greater purpose and destiny. Equip them with and diligence for the path you have. And use their gifts and their talents to impact the world in which they find themselves. We ask all these things in the name of your dear Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
We will now invite the Honorable Kurt Humphrey, Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, to share some remarks.
Good morning, everyone. I was just joking with the lady here. Oh, I don't know her name. What's your name? What's your name? Yeah. Sharon? I was just joking with her that I am going to be an hour long. And because, I'm just kidding. And here it's extremely warm, and so it will be very, very brief. A very special good morning to all. A very special good morning to Dr. Babb, to my permanent secretary, to Pippa. I can only call you Pippa. Everybody calls her Pippa. She's doing amazing work in Barbados. So this is the season of ceremonies like this and graduations, right? Like we have our students graduating, our children graduating. I've been to several graduations over the last few weeks. I have one of my own for my constituents on next Saturday. So there's several graduations. And I'm sure all the persons at the head table have been to several. You must have been to quite a few, Principal. So I know we've been to several graduations over the last few weeks, but I say this honestly, that I think this is perhaps the most important one that I have had the opportunity to be at. And I do not say so jokingly. I think this is probably the most important graduation that I have the opportunity to be at. And I say so because the truth is that Barbados really needs to do some work with its younger boys. And Barbados really needs to do some work with its men. But I'm told it's easier to bend a boy than it is to break a man. And so we must spend our time working toward bending our boys in the right direction. So I want to begin by thanking Dr. Babb'S. She's been doing this for 8 years without a lot of support and doing a fantastic job. Please give Dr. Babb a round of applause, please. It is not easy to do this kind of work. I've done this kind of community work for a long time. Most of the time, you put your own money in it. How are you doing? You put your own money in it. You put your time into it. You sacrifice your family. People don't see the effort that you have to put into making something like this happen. And so I want to thank you, Dr. Babb, for the effort you're putting into making this happen. But I've done a lot of community work, and it is my honest belief that unless we get our young men right, then we stand potentially to lose the benefits that we know are possible in this country. Ms. Bell, how are you? We know we could lose the benefits in this country. And that is where I want to begin, and probably that is where I want to end. First of all, it is a pleasure to be in community college. I actually went to school here and had my best school days here. And for those young boys over here, I hope you aspire someday to come back to this institution. It is really a fantastic institution. In fact, stand for a little, those of you who are on the program, the young boys in the white shirts, y'all, stand. All y'all in here, give them a round of applause, please. And you may sit. So I want to share very quickly a little bit about why I think this is the most important program. A few years ago, many years ago now, but when I was young, I always had the capacity to do well in school, I won't lie, but I was also, when you grow up in a certain environment, you know, even if you can read or even if you can speak, you're not allowed to speak and you're not allowed to read. And so even though I could read and read very well, I realized that I had never read out loud. I did not know the sound of my own voice, really. I'd never been asked to read in school except for when you had, at the end of the school term, you know, you got to do reading to pass. And then you just read in a chair to the teacher. So when I was in first form at St. Michael's School, Wendy Griffith Watson, my teacher who I love dearly, she asked me to read a part of a Shakespeare play, which I could read because I read well. But I didn't know the sound of my voice. So as I stood in that classroom to read, I messed it up. And then when I messed up the first time, it just made it worse thinking about it. I couldn't get out my words. I was stuttering. I almost came across as if I could not read. And the truth is, technically speaking, I couldn't because I couldn't read to anybody. I then realized that I never really spoke to anybody. Most of the things I'd done on my own. I read a lot, but to myself. And so I think one of the most important things we have to do is help young men discover their own voice. What does that voice sound like? What does your voice sound like when you speak? When you say something that matters to you, what does your voice sound like? You got to know your own voice. So for me, when I realized that, what I did is that I went home and I started practicing speaking out loud because I'd never done it. Speaking in the mirror, speaking in the bathroom, speaking as I walked to school. I probably looked like a madman walking to the bus stop, but I would be speaking out, trying to figure out my voice. And luckily for me, Miss Griffith Watson, who was my teacher at the time, she said to me, you are one of the most, after I made a horrible mess of it, you're one of the most intelligent students in this room. Now that didn't make sense to me. Like, how could I get this so terribly wrong? And my teacher telling me that I am one of the most intelligent people in the room. And it occurred to me that teachers have a way of seeing things in you that you don't often see in yourself. And that there's some people who can see good things in you even if you don't see them in yourself. And what we have to do as a society is to start surrounding our children with people who see good things in them. Because what do we hear for the most part? We hear you're no good. Sometimes, regrettably, women, we hear you're just like your father. And I say so having worked at Child Care Board for a number of years. We hear things, boys hear things that they shouldn't hear. And then for the men, because fathers are often not present in the lives of their sons, then they get their learnings from other people. We have a lot of work to do. I also now have responsibility for crime. And if you hear nothing else I say, I want you to hear this. Just last month, we were in Chicago. We went to Chicago to study crime prevention strategies that they have that we could potentially implement in Barbados. And for the crime that they are dealing with, they have a lot of gun violence in Chicago, but they brought it down by 41%. And how did they do that? They did it, before how they did it, what they realized is that just like in Barbados, the men are not present in the lives of their sons. And so the first point I want to make is to the men and to the women. Men, you have to be present in the lives of your sons. And you have to not only be present, but you have to be a positive influence. And the ladies have to allow the men to be present and to be a positive influence in the lives of their children. That's probably the most important part. The other thing that we saw in Chicago is that once they were not exposed to men, they gravitated toward other men. And who were those men? For those of us who grew up in the Payments Belt, you know, when you gravitate toward the men on the block who will provide you with all kinds of things. And I want to say here, for the most part, the block is not what it seems. This idea that you can go on the block and get all the things you want, the block is a Ponzi scheme. It looks the part, but it's not the part. And that we have to find a way to steer our younger boys from the block. And then the other thing is that while they're hearing at home you're a failure, even in the schools you're a failure, on the blocks and stuff and other places they're hearing, oh, you're wonderful, you are powerful. If I give you this particular weapon, you are even more powerful. This is the definition of a man. And we have to redefine what it is to be a man for our children. I'm not speaking to the children yet, I'm speaking to the parents. Because if you think that as a parent, we could step back and allow somebody else to raise your children, what you're doing is inviting problems into your house, into your life, and into the country. I mean this with all of the goodness in my heart, that when it comes to our young boys, we have to turn up when it comes to parenting. We have to be deliberate when it comes to parenting. We have to be loving to our children. We have to teach our children discipline. The other thing is that we want to give our children every possible thing they want. I had an example of somebody who wanted a particular kind of shoe for back to school, which cost like $400, and they wouldn't give the child any other shoe, but it's $400 shoe. And for the life of me, what I said to her, I said, well, my daughter who's going back to school, the most her shoe could, the most is $100. The most. And to me, that was a little extreme, like $400. But her thinking was, if I don't give him these shoes, my child is going to be bullied at school. We have to teach our children discipline, but we also have to give them something so that they can resist the world. I mean this with all the love in my heart, only because I know this is an important conversation. We could potentially save our children or lose them, and the fight is up to us. And to the children, I want to thank you. This has been 5 weeks or so, Dr. Babb? 5 weeks? This has been 5 weeks, and believe it or not, you are a winner because you have stayed the course for 5 weeks. So give nobody else. Boys, give yourselves a round of applause, please, because you did it. You did it. And I want you to get up and stand and turn around and say, I did it. I achieved. Stand up. Because you got to know that this is an achievement. If you think you've never achieved anything, this is say, I did it. I want you to say, I did it. On the count of 3. No, I'll tell you at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, say, I did it. Oh, that's beautiful. Say, I achieved. And I am a winner. Thank you very much. If we get our children believing these things, nobody can take our children from us. So for the parents who stay the course and have worked with their children, I commend you. I commend the men who are here. I always do because I like to see men showing up. I commend the men. This fight to save our boys is a fight to save our country. The work that Dr. Babb is doing is good work. It is hard work. It is hard work. And I commend Dr. Babb and all the other teachers in Barbados. Teachers have gotten such a bad deal in this country over time, but they have done tremendous, remarkable work. I commend the teachers. I wish you all the best during the course of today's presentations. I wish that I could stay, but we have another 10 o'clock meeting for which obviously I'm very late. But I really wanted to be here just to say how happy I am to see a bunch of positive, bright young boys. Believe me, in this group, you might have people who choose to be fishermen, who choose to be carpenters, who choose to be doctors if they want, who choose to be masons, who choose to be anything, but the fact is that they are allowed to choose. And we have to give our children the tools so that they can make the choice and determine what it is they want to do with their life. Whatever they choose, that they choose, and that we give them the support to be positive young men in this country. So have a wonderful day. May the good Lord bless you all. As again I said, sorry that I can't stay, but this is the most important work for this country, and that you happen to be a part of it means that you are part of the most important work in this country. So God bless you. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Humphrey, for those wonderful words. And I hope that we reflect on what was said. Boys, you are winners. Parents, they need support. And the work of this clinic continues to try to alleviate the problems that we are seeing emerging within our society. We will now invite Ms. Anne Allen, principal of the Barbados Community College, to make her remarks.
Okay, good morning to all of you, and a warm welcome to this closing ceremony, as well as to the Barbados Community College. And I note when the minister was speaking before, he encouraged some of you to come here when you finish secondary school. I'm expecting to see a number of you enrolling at the Barbados Community College. Is that understood, young men? That's right, that's what I like to hear. So this is the place for you for further study once you've completed your studies in school. So as we gather here today, I am so happy, so proud, and so pleased that we're marking the closing ceremony of Babb'S Reading Clinic for 2025. And we're celebrating the achievements of some young men. How many were in the group this year, Dr. Babb? 130, 130. Okay, and some were overseas, so about 90 here today, so well done. 130. So over the past few weeks, I believe that by reading, you have also unlocked the world of adventure, knowledge, and opportunity. And I myself, as a child, I love to read. I'd read anything at all. And from reading, I understood how different people lived. I was able to travel in my mind. I was able to imagine. And that is a gift. Reading is a gift, and I'm hoping that all of you would be able to utilize that. And you young men have demonstrated a willingness to explore, a curiosity to learn, and a commitment to improving that will serve you well throughout your lives. And I want you to remember that the ability to read is more than just the ability to understand the words on a page. It is the power to imagine, to question, and to discover new ideas. And the Barbados Community College is honored once again to be one of the sponsors of Babb'S Reading Clinic. At the BCC, our theme for this academic year was Innovate, Elevate, and Celebrate. Innovate, Elevate, Celebrate. And this reading clinic is innovative. It has elevated the skills of these young men, and today we celebrate their achievements. And I would like to take a moment, I know the minister mentioned it just now, but I would also like to take a moment to commend Dr. Babb for her visionary leadership, unwavering dedication in founding and nurturing the Reading Clinic for Boys. And Dr. Babb is a member of staff of the Barbados Community College, so I'm very proud to be able to acknowledge her and commend her in this forum. Now, what began as a small initiative has now blossomed into a thriving program, and that's thanks to her and her team's tireless efforts and their passion for literacy. So through her commitment and innovative approach, countless boys have discovered the joys of reading, which have opened the doors to new worlds and opportunity. So her remarkable contribution to our community is not only commendable, but truly transformative, and we are grateful for her inspiring work. Now to the dedicated volunteers, the staff members, the organizers of the clinic, we want to thank you for your unwavering support and encouragement. To the parents and guardians, we extend our sincerest gratitude to you for supporting your children throughout this program. Your involvement is crucial to their success, and your commitment to their education is truly commendable. And to the sponsors, we have a number of sponsors for the program. This is not possible. It could not be possible at this level without you. So a huge thanks to the sponsors as well. Now, this is an example of an innovation that is truly transformative and one that operates from the ground up. It's an example of an intervention that changes lives, families, and communities. So as we conclude this year's reading clinic, I would like you young men, all of us actually, to carry forth that excitement and that passion for reading. And boys, the stories that you have read, I hope that you will take them with you, any lessons that you have learned, and that you have formed some friendships here that may last you for a lifetime. So I pray that God, our Heavenly Father, would protect you, all of you young men, that He will guide you, and that He will bless you. I thank you for being part of this experience, and may the joy of reading continue to illuminate your world, inspire you to dream big and to reach higher and to make a positive impact to your community. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Arlene, for those wonderful words. And I wish to add as well, the Babb'S Community College has been one of our sponsors and indeed a partner with the Babb'S Reading Clinic from its inception. The Babb'S Reading Clinic indeed has been allowed to use the BCC as its home where this important instruction is delivered. And we do want to publicly acknowledge and continue to thank them for granting us the space, and space is important in terms of where they will be instructed and the facilities that they use for this learning to take place. At this time, we'll now invite our founder, Dr. Astra Babb, to deliver her report.
Of Ceremony, Ms. Kamisha Hoyt, Honorable Minister Kirk Humphrey, Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, Reverend Canon Monrell Williams, Priest of St. Barnabas Anglican Church, Miss Annette Aline, Principal, Barbados Community College, Mr. Andre Wharton, President, Rotary Club West. Ladies and gentlemen, parents, boys, good morning. My dear parents, I thank you for choosing the Babb'S Reading Clinic as you sought to assist your child with improving his capacity to read. We discovered after testing them and talking to them that most of them were eager to learn and just needed somebody to teach them. My comments this morning are not directed so much at the parents present here, but at those parents who believe that they can do nothing to assist their children with reading, because you have done something about it. On 14th July 2025, during our opening ceremony, the focus of my talk was about the fact that parents have a critical role to play and have ultimate responsibility in the education of their children. My focus was not on the cause of illiteracy. Most of us, if not all, know that there are many reasons why students struggle with learning to read. My objective was to spot the light on parents who need to pay more attention to their children and not leave it all to the schools. Parents, please be aware that all children can learn, but it's crucial that you become involved in learning, in teaching your child to read. Teaching your child to read begins at home. You are your child's first teacher. While the child is in preschool, he learns most of his vocabulary. Between ages 1 and 5, the child's vocabulary expands rapidly with significant increases in both the number of words he understands and the number of words he can use. For the typical child, a child with no learning challenges, by the time he reaches age 5, he recognizes and uses at least 10,000 words. Parents, expose your children to rich, quality language before they go to school. Display the alphabet chart in your home. Say the alphabet while pointing to each letter. Call the name of the icon, the picture next to the letter. So, like the letter A, it would have like an apple next to it. You say A to the child, and you say, A is for apple. When they go to school, the teacher does that with them, Do that at home. Label the items in your home. Write the word chair on a card, for example, and stick it on the back of a chair. Point to it and say chair. Touch the written word and touch the actual chair. The child will eventually make the connection, and the child is learning incidentally. Repeat this process with other items in your home, such as wall, a table, a fan. The child is passing that every day at home, and eventually a connection is made between the object and the word. Create a literacy-rich environment for your child. Make books available to the child and read with and to your child. Teach your child nursery rhymes and help with the development of his memory. By the time your child goes to school, he will be ready to learn to read. Now, if after doing all of this several times, the child experiences problem with speech or his ability to recall, then please have the child tested. A doctor will advise if the child is just a late developer or whether there is a more serious issue. Once your child is tested and diagnosed, it is time for you to decide how best to educate your child. He has to be placed in a structured learning environment with a trained professional who understands how to teach your child to read. Otherwise, your child may advance throughout school unable to read. This session of the Babb'S Reading Clinic proved extremely challenging for us, as this cohort of boys included some who had no knowledge of letter sounds, nor did some of them have any understanding of word attack or word recognition strategies. You see, parents, while we had enrolled some typical children, we had also enrolled children who were diagnosed with learning difficulties, such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, dyslexia, and autism. We learned that there can be a link between these, as they are all neurodevelopmental conditions that frequently co-occur. More importantly, the parents of these children explained to us that the children were experiencing difficulty learning to read at school. To assist these children with special needs, the reading clinic employed a trained professional. But it will require more than a 5-week intervention to make a difference for these children, even though some of them have now begun to understand letter sounds. Ladies and gentlemen, there are too many typical children who are leaving school unable to read. And by that I mean too many children with no learning challenges. They were not diagnosed as having anything wrong with them. I believe it is time for parents and personnel from the Ministry of Education to examine why so many of our children cannot read. There are boys in this reading clinic who scored 19 for mathematics and 19 for English in the common entrance exam after spending 7 years at primary school. Are all of these children on the spectrum? I don't believe that. Some are typical children who have no learning challenges. So what is the issue? A typical child who attends school regularly should not graduate and is unable to read. Parents, play your part. Well, you here this morning are playing your part. Do not wait until your child is unable to read. Do not wait until your child is at the age of the common entrance examination before you show an interest in your child's development at school. Examine the child's report. He takes one home at the end of every term. You should know if the child is experiencing any difficulty and do not wait to have it addressed. Form a relationship with your child's teacher. Attend PTA meetings and make connections. Sometimes some people in that same PTA meeting can help you. You just have to speak up and ask for help. Speak with the principal and ask for help. May I remind everyone that every child is entitled to an education. It is a violation of their human rights to allow them to leave school illiterate. Some teachers are encouraging parents to send their children to the reading clinic, and I'm grateful for that. However, the ideal situation would be if the teachers in the schools could teach the children to read so that there is no need for a reading clinic. Unlike what others may think, I believe Barbados would be better served if the teachers were given the resources and the retraining necessary that would enable them to teach our children to read while they are in school. We were aware that it's essential to have a structured approach to the reading instruction, as the specific needs of children will vary. Consequently, the students in this reading clinic were placed in groups according to their ability. Nevertheless, even though there were 8 classes, each in its own space, thanks to the Barbados Community College, teachers still experienced challenges, as some 14 and 15-year-old boys were sometimes placed in group with children that were much younger. Please remember that the boys were grouped according to their ability and not age. Also, in group 7 and 8, which are the highest groups that we had, the focus was comprehension strategies and essay writing, not word recognition strategies. We separated the boys into 4 groups, but 8 classes. Groups 1 and 2 consisted of students of similar ability, but they were separated to keep the numbers manageable. In this group, the students were unable to proceed beyond the pre-primer words on the San Diego Quick Assessment Test. In addition, they were unable to read the phonics passage of that same test, which is a passage that it was like a little story, but it had words like, 3-letter words like run, was, fan, F-A-N, things like that, cat. Groups 3 and 4 also consisted of students of the same ability level, but they were marginally more phonemically aware than the first two groups. They read more words, more sight words from the San Diego Quick Assessment Test when they did the pre-test. And some were able to read the first 2 sentences of the phonics passage, all making 3 mistakes before the end of the second sentence. And this was a passage that had in many 3- and 4-letter words and could be phonetically deciphered. Groups 5 and 6 performed better on the quick assessment pretest than the previously mentioned groups. Some managed to call some of the words up to grade 1, but the phonics reading passage presented a challenge. So what that means to teachers, what that means parents, is that the students had a problem calling words in isolation. Some of them did a little better on the words in sentences, but the words in isolation gave some of them a lot of trouble, while some of them had problems with the words in isolation and also the words in the reading test. Group 7 and 8 experienced very little difficulty with the San Diego Quick Assessment Test. That's Ms. Warner's class and Mr. Piles. Their issues were difficulty in understanding written text. My teachers and I tried desperately to help these boys by using various word attack and reading comprehension strategies. However, during this session of the reading clinic, the teachers constantly complained about boys not paying attention, having anger issues, lack of interest in the task at hand, and instances of insolence displayed by a handful of boys towards their teachers. These situations, coupled with irregular attendance, impeded progress. On the other hand, most of the boys settled quickly and seriously pursued the desire to read. Those boys who were serious about improving their reading, their ability to read, made strides. So many of our boys made strides. They've moved from where they came in, and now they can actually read something. Some boys did not complete the reading clinic as they went overseas for the latter part of the session. The parents only told us that after like week 2 or week 3 that they would be leaving. While other boys were sent to join sporting programs, again during the latter part of the program. Some parents had signed up their boys in the reading clinic, but unknown to us, they also signed them up for a sports program, thereby preventing another child from benefiting from the reading clinic. If the child got accepted into the sports program, parents did not send the children to the reading clinic. They sent them instead to do a sports like cricket or football or something like that. But that's, most of them started and then they dropped out. So that child who was sent to do the sporting activities will return to school next term. A most improved sportsman who cannot read. Therefore, that boy will most likely join a cricket or football team where he may have little understanding of how to be tactically shrewd or strategic. These boys were taken on 2 educational tours, field trips, during this session. They toured the Grantley Adams International Airport, and they went places at the airport that I had never been. I'm sure some of you parents had never been, because they were taken on a bus and they traversed the entire airport and was shown many different parts of the airport which you would not have been able to see from the front, such as where certain people come in, certain celebrities, and where certain rich people in Barbados have their planes, private planes, parked and all like that. You know, where the incinerator is for international waste, right? So they saw a lot. And they went through customs, like if they were going to travel and all. The boys were really excited about that. Okay. And they also attended a session at the Barbados Supreme Court, where Madam Justice Barbara Cook Allen was trying a case, because I don't know how else to put it. She was actually involved in trying a case of two 15-year-old boys. It was really sad. One of them had refused to go to school, and the mother was arrested because the child refused to go to school, and the mother was crying really hard because the police went to her place of work and arrested her, and she lost her job because of that. So boys, I hope you saw that your actions can cause your parents pain, and I'm sure you don't want that. Okay? And then the other boy actually used a rock. He was already on probation for something else, and he now broke curfew that he was supposed to be on and used a rock and hit somebody in the head. The person, as far as I know, is still in the hospital, and the policeman said the person was in a very serious state, right? So we don't want any of that for our boys, so we just thought we would show them what happens on the other side, all right? So now we are at the end. We're at organizations which helped us. You all have a program, so you can look at the back of it and you will see the donors and facilitators. These are the people who made this program possible, right? So I'll just call them out still. Barbados Community College, Consumers Guarantee Insurance Company Limited, Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs. They owe us. They haven't given us yet. They owe us. Scotiabank Barbados, Maria Holder Memorial Trust, Sandy Lane Charitable Trust, and the Shy Foundation, which is a foundation in England that heard about these boys and wanted to assist. All right? And then we have the donors. So these people are people who would give in kind, you know, not necessarily cash, but they will give, some will give cash and some will give in kind, right? But the difference between the sponsors and the donors are that the donors actually who own what we're doing here. They make it possible, right? Members of St. Barnabas Church, Mr. Hugh Gore, which is a gentleman who lives in Antigua, Miss Gracelyn Wiles, I think she's in this audience right now, Petroleum Equipment Company, the Barbados Defense Force, who are here that group of those soldiers are here every year for these boys, every year, twice weekly. The Mallet family, the Media Resource Department, the School Meals Department, Rotary Club West, the maids at the Barbados Community College. Ladies and gentlemen, the maids don't work with Babb'S Reading Clinic, but every time these boys drop something like water or some other food throwaway or something, and I would be going to say, let me get a mop, and the maid would always say, Dr. Babb, let me deal with that. So I'm very, very grateful, and I hope that Miss Aline will convey that to them for me. Also, security at BCC again. Parents, your children dare not go through that gate when it is not time for them to leave. And the security people do not work with our clinic, but they just extend that courtesy to us to protect your children, right? When boys want to play the fool close to the gate, the security hold on to them until I am passing, and then they will hand them over to me. Can't leave here. That is the Barbados security team, and I thank them very much. Others who assist this clinic to be possible: the National Task Force on Literacy, through the chair, Dr. Sylvia Henry. She's right there in blue, that lady in blue. Dr. Henry collaborated with us to host a session for parents on dyslexia. Many of you didn't attend, but those who attended had a good time. And they were, ably informed. She also used her office to contribute some of the books, which will be presented later this morning. And for those selfless acts, I thank Dr. Henry. We were also assisted by the One Family program. And they may be here in this room, right? Okay, yes, right. So these are under the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, and they actually populated this clinic with 30 boys, right? And they send us 30 boys, and they have promised to help us with some financial support, and I believe they will. Parents, the road to success is long. These boys may have difficulty mastering the art of reading in 16 months, as I heard someone say. But please continue to try to help them. In addition, please remember that the reading clinic will cater to a new cohort of students on Saturdays, starting on the 13th of September, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, so 2 hours every Saturday. And the instructions to your child is still free, thanks to the sponsors, right? This second session will cater to boys and girls who are experiencing difficulty with reading. So even if it is the children who are going to do the common entrance, nevertheless, it is being said now that it will be phased out. But if you want your child to learn or to improve his reading or her reading capacity, that's an option. The venue will be the Barbados Community College, and the session will run from the 13th of September until the 29th of November, 2025. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I know I said thank you, but I forgot something very important. I thanked everybody, but I did not thank my teachers, right? So teachers, I want you to know how grateful I am for all that you have done for these boys, because I certainly could not teach all these boys by myself. So I am very grateful to the teacher. We have Pastor Dale Haynes, in-house counselor, Mr. Dominic Broom, and if the teachers are around and want to come forward, they can. Mr. Rommel Chase, Miss Cindy Grant, Mr. Wesley Griffith, Miss Kamisha Hoyt, Mr. Jason Pyle, Miss Jacqueline Prescott, Miss Sharon Sobers, and Miss Vicky Warner. Thank you very much. And we also had volunteers, and our volunteers this year came from the Barbados Community College. We usually have them from UE. This year, they are from right here. Nadia Bess Arthur, Jalissa Ashton, Erin Douglas, Vanessa Edwards, Deandra Harewood, Destiny Haynes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. Babb, for that comprehensive report with respect to the Reading Clinic Summer Edition of 2025. At this point, I wish to invite Mr. Andre Waterman, President of the Rotary Club of Barbados West, to share his remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Master of Ceremonies, Principal of the Barbados Community College, Dr. Astra Babb, specially invited guests, students, ladies and gentlemen, parents, thank you guys for being here this morning. Earlier this week, I asked Dr. Babb, what should I speak on? She said anything. But I couldn't come here and speak on anything. I had to come here and speak on the power of reading. Today is about reading, not just as a school subject, not just as something you have to do. Reading is a life skill. Reading as a superpower. Reading as a habit that can change the course of your life. But here's the truth. If you read well, you can learn anything. If you can read with understanding, you can think critically. If you can read with curiosity, you can dream beyond your limits. Reading is the master key. It opens the doors to school of success. It unlocks the doors to careers. It even opens the doors to worlds you've never seen before. Why does this matter, boys? For boys, especially growing up where opportunities may be scarce, literacy is power. And I'll repeat this again. Where opportunities may be scarce, literacy is power. It's the skill that makes you self-reliant. It's the skill no one can take from you. It's the skill that lets you compete anywhere in the world. And it's not just for exams. It's for understanding people, for solving problems, for staying one step ahead in life. When you read a story, you step into someone else's shoes. You see through their eyes. You feel their fears. You celebrate their victories. That's called emotional intelligence. And it is one of the most valuable skills you can have. It helps you work with people. It helps you manage conflict. It helps you to lead. A challenge for you boys, 1 book a month. After today, I am laying down this challenge to you. Read at least 1 book a month. Not just textbooks, novels, stories. However, something that takes you out of your own life and into another. Because every book you read adds another experience to your life. Another lesson learned, another perspective gained. 1 book a month is 12 worlds in your year. Imagine where you will be in 5 years. And here's something else. Literacy isn't just about being a better student. Strong reading skills open doors to careers you may have never thought of. Writing your own books to become an author, editing and publishing, journalism, research, law, any field where thinking, analyzing, and communicating matters. And in today's world, those are the careers that lead. Those are the careers where you need to read. That's why I love this reading program. It's not just giving books, it's giving you a habit. And habits shape your destiny. If you make reading part of your everyday life now, it will serve you for the rest of your life. And doing it together as a group makes it even stronger. Because you're building a habit with your friends. You're building a habit with your parents. You're building a habit with your schoolmates. You're challenging each other. You are growing together. So here's my challenge to every boy here. Keep going. Keep reading. 1 book a month is the minimum. Parents, guardians, keep encouraging them. Keep encouraging it. Ask them about what they've read. Share what they are reading. Let them see that you too do it. Because as Frederick Douglass said, once you learn to read, you will be forever free. Let's give our boys not just the ability to read, but the hunger to read, the hunger to learn, the hunger to achieve, the hunger to become the very best versions of themselves. The Rotary Club of Barbados West continues to be an institution with a purpose and a commitment to one of the focuses of Rotary basic education and literacy. And as a club, we will continue to support the work of Dr. Astrabab into the next year, 2026. Graduates, parents, head table, thank you, and do continue to read.
Thank you, Mr. Wharton, for your words of encouragement. At this time, I'm going to invite Ms. Warner, Vicky Warner, to make the presentation of books to our boys.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to invite Ms. Philippa Chalice of the Sandy Lane Charitable Trust to come forward to do a presentation to some of our boys. All right. Boys, when you hear your names, please come forward. We'll start with Kamar Critchlow. Kemar Critchlow. Evan Aline. Trelique Beckles. Trelique Beckles.
That's a great
Dario Weir. Renako Malcolm. Shadoni Fleming. Shadoni Fleming. Kimraj Manaru. Kimraj Manaru. Shaquin Ward. Shaquin Ward. Usher Small. Usher Small. Thank you, Ms. Philippa Chalice. We will now ask Mrs. Madupe Sudaya Budu of the Maria Holder Trust to present to the boys. Rivaldo Cox. Rivaldo. Kyrie Waith Lithcott. Kyrie Waith Lithcott. Shamar Davis Evelyn. Nehemiah Burrows. Nehemiah Burrows. Ezekiel Barton. Ezekiel Barton. Akil Blackman. Akil Blackman. Samuel Barker. Samuel Barker. Tremaine Wharton. Tremaine Wharton. Thank you, Mrs. Badu. Thank you very much. I will now ask Dr. Sylvia Henry of the Barbados Task Force on Literacy to come forward to do the presentation to the boys. Nathan Clark. Nathan Clark. Christian Whitehall. Christian Whitehall. Jakeem Waterman. Jakeem Waterman. All right, thank you, Dr. Henry. We'll now ask Ms. Sandy Fields, also of the Barbados Task Force, to join us. Thank you so much. Aniko Fortnight. Aniko Fortnight. Shadane Applewaite. Shadane Applewaite. Elijah Barton. Elijah Barton. Joshua Brown. Joshua Brown. Navio Bostic. Navio Bostic. Darian Chase. Okay. Nakobe Burke. Is Nakobe here? Yes, he is. And Nathan Gaskin. Zion Lewis. Zion Lewis. And Calum Moore. Thank you, Ms. Fields, and thank you to the Barbados Task Force on Literacy. I shall now ask the principal of the Barbados Community College, Miss Annette Allen, to present to our boys. Mervyn Nurse. Daniel Williams. Amari Aline. Ezekiel Ash. Ezekiel Ash. Tariq Eiffel. Tariq Eiffel. Kazani Rice. Kazani Rice. Cadmiel Clark Goddard. Cadmiel Clark Goddard. Ajani Maynard. Ajani Maynard. Mackay Bell Trotman. Mackay Bell Trotman. Kimani Trotman. Kimani Trotman. Shataj Aline. Shataj Aline. Thank you, Ms. Aline. Thank you very much. I'll now ask Mr. Pierre Phillips of Consumers Guarantee Insurance to come forward. Tazeri Barton. Tazeri Barton. Taraj Boyne. Taraj Boyne. Alicio Barker. Alicio Barker. Jadane Cyrus. Jadane Cyrus. Jelani Franklin. Jelani Franklin. Theon Miller. Theon Miller. Xander Phillips. Xander Phillips. Diego Sam. Nikolai Husbands. Nikolai isn't here, but his mom will accept on his behalf. Nikolai Williams. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Pierre Phillips. Thank you very much. We will now call on Mr. Andre Wharton, our featured speaker. Omari Perryman. Antonio Brathwaite. Shadon Archer. Nico Bellamy Thorpe. Caleb Greenwich. Daquan Carter. Daquan Carter. Aaron Small. Jesse Mapp. Zachary Arthur. Damani Alfe. Jalon Bruce. Jalon Bruce. Jamani Davis. Vaughn Callender. Justin Mapp. Samuel Medford. Omari Niles. Omari Niles. Treshawn Thompson. Treshawn Thompson. Derico Nurse. Daniel Williams. All right. Thank you, Mr. Wharton. Thank you very much. We've come to the end of our presentations.
Thank you, Ms. Warner, for facilitating the presentation of books to our boys. We have come to the end of our ceremony, and at this time, we're going to invite Mr. Wesley Griffith to deliver the vote of thanks.
Master of Ceremony, Miss Commissioner Hyde, Honorable Minister Kurt Humphrey, Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, the Reverend Canon Dr. Mauriel Williams, Priest of St. Barnabas Anglican Church, Miss Annette Allen, Principal, Babb'S Community College, Mr. Andrew Wharton, President, Rotary Club West, Dr. Astra Babb, Founder, Coordinator of the Babb'S Reading Clinic. My task today is just to say a simple thank you, but thank you goes a long way. I must ever be mindful of those persons who contributed to the camp, great and small. Firstly, I will thank God Almighty who made everything possible. Without him, we would have been in deep trouble, because I'm sure that the teachers here had a very trying time, and he had to instill patience in them. So God, I thank you for the strength that you gave us to carry through the task. I'd like to say a special thanks to the chairperson, Ms. Commissioner Hyde, who did a very good job of keeping the program together. I also would like to thank the Reverend Colonel Dr. Mara Williams, the priest of St. Babb'S Church, for invoking God's blessing on the proceedings. And remember, too, that this camp actually came out of St. Babb'S Church. Dr. Astra Babb started with just 4 boys years ago, and it has blossomed. I'd like to also thank the Honorable Kurt Humphrey, the Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, for his insightful speech and encouragement to the boys. One thing I must say is that he is dealing with elder affairs, but we are addressing the future elders of the community. And without that support that you're going to give them now, the future looks very, very bleak. So you, parents, you have to address what is happening now in the present, because it's going to affect the future. So listen to his words, and you try your best to be there for your boys, be there for your son, be supportive. And the men present, I'm very proud of you that you are here, because you always say that the men are not there for the children. So all you men who are present, give yourself a hand. Yes. Yes. Yeah, as we say, we have to big up the men. And the men must show an example for the boys in the camp. Mr. Humphrey said that the boys must be present in the life of your sons. The boys look up to you to give them the right example, the right kind of leadership. And if they see bad tendencies in you, they will emulate those bad tendencies. And right now, our community cannot afford that negativity that continues. You talk to your sons, you help them to read, you educate them, you help them to make good, positive choices and get them off the blocks and get them away from the gun culture. So I support you men, I congratulate you men for coming and spread the word to other men in the community. Mr. Humphrey also said that to keep your boys away from the block. And you know that the block culture is negative, and we have to do that. He also implored all you parents, not only the men, all you parents to turn up for your children. You have to be there. And this was reiterated by Dr. Babb, the Minister of Education. He also mentioned that the parents must be there, especially in reading. Because before reading, you're going to be in trouble. Reading sets the foundation for your development. Therefore, be there. Both parents, be there for your children to encourage them to read. I also thank Ms. Allen, the principal of the college. You have been there for us over the years, supporting us, giving the boys good advice. And you too asked the parents to support the boys. And you gave them a goal to reach. When you leave here, come to BCC. And you only get there if you boys are able to read. And when you read and come to BCC, then you're setting your career on a good, positive path. So boys, are you listening to me? You have to learn to read, and you read to learn. Come to BCC, and you will be on the right path away from the block. Okay? And you as boys, as you get older, you must make a positive impact on the community, not a negative impact that you're hearing all the time. I want all you boys to make a positive impact on the community. I also have to thank the energetic Dr. Ashabab for working assiduously in leading the camp, also looking out for you amidst all kind of challenges and difficulty. She has worked very hard, and I'm going to ask you to make a contribution for a day spa for her or staycation. But she has worked very hard, and she continues to work and support the boys, because her mission, her vision is to get every boy to be able to read, get you boys on a positive track and away from the negativity. She has talked to the parents, and you parents here, I hope that you have listened, and I hope that you spread the message to those parents who are not here. You have to play a positive role in the development of your children. You have to be there in the initial reading stages. You cannot depend wholly on the school. So you have a role to play. Somebody she told you, you get your cars, write the names of the parts of the house and furniture, chair, table, stove. That is initial reading. And you do that. You read with your children, and you ask your children to read with you. You may tell me, oh, I can't read so good. But if you make that effort, the children will read, and maybe they may even teach you how to read. Okay? But you must be there for your children. Monitor what they're doing in school, right up through the school system. Every class or every grade as it's going to change now. You must be there to monitor your children and not wait until the last moment when they're doing 11 plus to be there for them. If you do not follow that instruction, then you're doing the children a great injustice. The Sandy Lane Charitable Trust has been there for us also through the years, and we thank them for continuing to accompany us on the journey of positive national transformation. And that transformation includes the boys being able to read. A new sponsor came on board, the Shai Foundation, based in England. They have noticed the work that we are doing, and they have contributed, and they promised to continue contributing over the years. They used to contribute to Haiti, but now Haiti is in turmoil, and they decided, listen, Babb'S is a good place to make that investment for education. The other donors and facilitators, the members in Babb'S Church, Mr. Hugo, Mrs. Grayson Wells, Petroleum Equipment Company, the Babb'S Defense Force, the Mallet family, the Media Resource Department, the School Meals Department, and the Rotary Club. And I am thankful to our featured speaker for bringing a message to you that you should embrace and endorse. Other persons, the School Meals Department. Now, the School Meals Department has joined us, and they're playing a very important role. If children are hungry, then it's most difficult for them to concentrate. So I'm very grateful for the support of the School Meals Service. Now, at this point, I must be mindful of those people who were right up at the firing line. I would like all the tutors come out here and be identified. Please come to the front. All the teachers, yes, all the teachers, because you must be recognized for the important sacrifice and input you have made to the development of these boys. This is a nation-building activity. So please come to the front, all of you. Okay, please give a hand support. Yes.